Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today the question is, how are personality traits related to marital satisfaction? Well, when I talk about personality traits, I'm referring to the 5-factor model of personality. So this would have 5 personality traits: openness to experience, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. We can remember these by the acronym OCEAN. So openness to experience is intellectual curiosity, adventurousness. Conscientiousness is how well organized somebody is and how much impulse control they have. Extraversion is how much energy someone gets from social interactions, how drawn they are to social engagement. Agreeableness is how much somebody values cooperation and the feelings of others. And neuroticism is emotional instability. So when we think of these personality traits and marital satisfaction, it's fairly common to think that similarity across all these personality traits predicts high marital satisfaction and a lower probability of divorce. But actually there's not much evidence to support that. Rather, what we're finding is that you have to look at the individual personality traits and to some extent how they combined to see an effect on marital satisfaction. Now when we look at personality traits and marital satisfaction, we're really talking about the relationship or association, not a personality trait causing marital satisfaction to increase or decrease. But we do know there is a relationship. So out of all of these personality traits, neuroticism appears to have the highest predictive value. So high neuroticism is associated with an increased risk of divorce and decreased marital satisfaction. Neuroticism, as I mentioned, has the highest predictive value out of all the personality traits. So everything else being equal, somebody in a relationship with higher neuroticism, that's going to create more risk of lower marital satisfaction. If both people have high neuroticism, that increases the risk. Moving down from high predictive value to low predictive value, we go from neuroticism, then agreeableness, conscientiousness, extraversion, and openness to experience. Now with the 4 personality traits other than neuroticism, agreeableness, conscientiousness, extraversion, and openness to experience, we generally believe that higher levels of any of these or all of these personality traits is associated with higher marital satisfaction. Now, this doesn't mean the extremes. If you reach the extreme in any of these personality traits, that could have the opposite effect, although it might not. But we're really talking about just higher levels, not extreme levels. Now, as I mentioned, there are certain combinations that predict changes in marital satisfaction. For example, low conscientiousness and low agreeableness, that's associated with lower marital satisfaction and increased infidelity. Also, high extraversion and low conscientiousness is associated in men with higher infidelity and lower marital satisfaction, as is high openness to experience and low conscientiousness. Higher openness to experience in women is associated with higher marital satisfaction, but does not seem to affect men as much. So with openness to experience and with those combinations of extraversion, conscientiousness, and openness to experience and conscientiousness, they're gender specific. We also hear that over the lifetime, individuals' personality traits tend to converge. So a couple that's married, their personality traits come closer to one another. There's no evidence to support this either. Personality traits are relatively stable over time. When we look at the divorce rate, right now it's around 50%. You can make a pretty good argument that it might be closer to 40 or 45, but either way fairly high. And we also know that the rate of unhappiness among couples that stay married and the rate of separation without divorce is pretty high as well. From those remaining 50% that wouldn't get divorced ever, it's around 20%. That leaves only about 30% of married couples that are happy. Combine that grim statistic with the knowledge that personality traits are relatively stable, and you might think, well, there's not much that can be done. But that's not true. Personality traits are stable, and the happiness rate of 30%, if that's in fact the true rate, is fairly low. But changes in behavior can greatly increase marital satisfaction and can increase compatibility. This requires hard work, insight, and awareness. Personality traits don't necessarily define whether a marriage is going to be happy or not. We believe they're associated with higher and lower marital satisfaction depending on the personality traits and the combination. But they're not deterministic. They don't determine whether someone's going to be happy in a marriage or not. Behavior does. So really, even though the statistics might appear a bit grim and the realities of personality traits and marital satisfaction, behavior and personal responsibility and working hard and trying to improve a relationship has a great impact. I hope you found this description of personality traits and marital satisfaction interesting. Thanks for watching.